Hi everyone, my name is Vicente. I work in CIMNE and I'm going to present you a new tool developed in GiD for simulating processes of leakages and intrusions in water pipelines. This application has been developed by my colleagues Javier San Mauro, Fernando Salazar and me, all of us working in CIMNE Madrid. First of all, I'm going to make a brief introduction to put the problem we are going to address into context. In all water supply networks, leakage and intrusion phenomena occur to a greater or lesser extent. Although both processes are governed by the same hydraulic principles, leakage events are more frequent, so there are more studies in this field. In terms of the dimensional context of the study, this can be analyzed either at a network level or at an individual pipe level, being the focus of the analysis quite different. Some of the methodologies followed to analyze these events are through analytical methods, data field-based studies, experimental research, or numerical modeling. The presented tool in this study analyzed these processes at an individual level of a single pipe and using numerical modeling for its calculation. What kind of features are studied in technical and scientific literature related to this topic? Well, some studies are focused on the structural behavior of the pipe, calculating the deformation and stresses depending on different parameters, type of failure, the material, or the geometry of the pipe. Other studies analyze the hydraulics around the orifice to calculate the leakage or intrusion flows and velocities, the discharge coefficient parameter, and other topics related to computational fluid dynamics. And finally, another common line of research is the influence of the external medium on the hydraulic behavior around the orifice and on the propagation of the fluid itself in porous media. In this context, the objective of this study has been the development of a tool to simulate the fluid structural behavior of water pipes subjected to leakage and intrusion events. For this purpose, the most relevant processes involved in this type of events have been integrated, linking all the processes sequentially and automatically. Let's present the programming framework of the application and an overview of its graphical user interface. The interface, the pre-process, and the post-process utilities have been developed with TCL programming language using as base framework the GiD software. The numerical calculation environment used has been the Kratos multiphysics repository, from which different applications were imported, such as the structural application package and the free Surface app for the computational fluid dynamics calculation. Now we are going to see a video presenting the graphical user interface of this assistant. This application is a GiD problem type which is based on a two-windows graphical interface. In the first step, after introducing the name and the path of the project, all the cells are activated. Through this window, we can define parametrically all the relevant geometry parameters, material properties, and external loads concerning the processes related to both the structural and the hydraulic problems. The second step window integrates the numerical simulation options and buttons to launch the different steps of the whole problem. Finally, a number of shortcuts to visualize the most relevant results are also included in this section. I will now summarize the main steps of the algorithm. The first block consists on a series of pre-process actions such as the geometry design and designation of all the parameters to build the numerical model. Once these actions are performed, the calculation module starts. This module is built by three interconnected submodules. In the first one, a structural calculation of the pipe is carried out, obtaining as main results the displacement, deformation, and stresses fields. Linking the original geometry with the deformation field obtained with the structural calculation, a redesign of the geometry is carried out to build the new calculation domain for the next step. With this new geometry, the algorithm runs the third and last submodule of the calculation block, the computational fluid dynamics simulation. This simulation is calculated in the whole new domain, that is the inner part of the pipe, including the orifice and the external medium corresponding to a porous soil. Finally, with the post-process module, both the structural and hydraulic most relevant results can be seen automatically. We will describe each of the utilities in more detail, starting with the preprocess module. In this section, we define first the geometry of the model parametrically, including the features of the pipe and the orifice. Then, the parameters related to the structural problem are introduced, and finally, they are introduced those features concerning the porous external soil concerning the hydraulic problem. Besides, other processes are executed automatically in this block, such as the definition of the mesh with a proper size for specific regions of the domain and the assignment of the boundary conditions. Now we are going to present the main aspects of the calculation module and the most relevant results obtained in each section. Through this window, we can run step by step the different subprocesses of this module: the structural analysis, the geometry redesign, and the computational fluid dynamics package. We will show some of the most relevant details of each block, starting with the structural analysis. In this video, we can see the results obtained after running this submodule. Firstly, if we analyze the displacement generated by the internal pressure of the fluid, it can be seen that the largest displacements are generated in the cross-section of the pipe. Depending on whether there is overpressure or underpressure, this section will widen or narrow, leaving the longitudinal axis practically unchanged under this type of load. With regard to the stresses caused, it can be seen here how the greatest and smallest stresses are concentrated around the hole. The next step is the redesign of the geometry. This step is a complex series of internal tasks automatically performed by the application. With the displacement results of the previous block, a cloud of nodes is created and a new geometry built. Then, this geometry is newly remeshed and the entities are identified in order to automatically assign the boundary conditions of the CFD problem. After that, the complete fluid domain is created. On the one hand, the fluid region corresponding to the inner part of the pipe is differentiated between the main part of the body pipe and that corresponding to the orifice. To each region, corresponding loads and boundary conditions are assigned. On the other hand, the region corresponding to the outer part of the pipe is created automatically. The three parts are then combined and linked properly to obtain the complete domain region to calculate the CFD problem. The last step is the computational fluid dynamics calculation. Solving this problem, we can calculate hydraulic variables, not only in the inner part of the pipe, but also in the external porous media. In this slide, we can see the velocities achieved under different pressure scenarios. The right figure shows a leakage flow when high pressure is happening inside the pipe, while the left figure shows the effect of intrusion when the differential pressure between the inner and the outer part of the pipe is negative. Another type of interesting results that can be observed with the application are the hydraulic current lines, which is very interesting especially for the analysis of possible introduction of contaminants in the case of intrusion phenomena. Finally, I would like to draw some conclusions and outline some lines of future work. First of all, before moving on to the study of leakages and intrusions at network level, this phenomena should be analyzed from the point of view of individual behavior. For that purpose, numerical modeling results are a very good tool. There are many processes associated with this type of events, such as the structural behavior of the pipe, the hydraulic simulation inside the pipe, and also the fluid propagation through the soil. However, they are not usually treated together in other studies. This tool allows executing them in a sequential and automatic way, updating the model between the different stages of calculation. As future work, by adding an utility to launch cases in a massive and automatic way, it will be possible to use this tool to perform sensitivity analysis to calibrate experimental data, to simulate what-if scenarios, and to use it for optimization problems. The next step should be the validation of this tool by means of laboratory tests, especially the computational fluid dynamic stage. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you want more information, do not hesitate to contact us through our email addresses.